Except I'm leaving on vacation.
Yes.
Sitting on the floor a minute ago.
Hey, Natalia, me and you.
All right, Kelly, you ready?
Yes.
Khaled, you ready? Everybody ready over there? All right, gentlemen, we're going to call this the City Commission workshop for June 28th, 2022 to order. If you'd please silence your cell phones, I'll do the same. City Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Mayor Owen,
Here.
Vice Mayor McGurk,
Here.
Commissioner Hartman,
Here.
Commissioner Colodi,
Present.
Commissioner Sacks.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, for quick clarification, first item is going to be public participation. This is your chance to address the commission. This is just the budget workshop. So if you're here for anything if you're from Venetian Bay or anything like that, that's the next meeting. So hold your comments on that. But if you're here for anything related to the budget, this is your chance to address the commission. Please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to 3 minutes if you would. Yes, sir, come right ahead. Good afternoon. Pull that mic up right there in front of you so they can hear you. There you go.
I don't usually have that problem. My name is Phil Hall. I live at 3365 Catarina Drive. I'm here to bring you up to date on pickleball in New Smyrna Beach and the requirement we have for new courts. I have two important items for you. The first is the critical need for additional courts. The extra play that we've been getting from the Snowbirds has not lightened up. We have lost the use of 3 courts during the summertime at Babe James to the kids, and good for the kids. But it puts the wait time at the current courts still as non-acceptable. This also puts a big hole in our new players. The new players that want to play have become dependent on the courts of Babe James and our good friend Reggie for his introduction to pickleball. That is not available now. New players don't have an option. But the second item is the grand reveal of our new Smyrna Beach Pickleball Club logo. The art's unique to New Smyrna Beach, and we are receiving requests for shirts, towels, bag tags from New York, Pennsylvania, all over. With new courts, New Smyrna Beach will become a destination where players and families will visit and spend money. Please.
That's pretty cool.
I like it.
We're proud of our logo. We need your help with courts desperately.
All right, spin it around. Show the rest of the audience here. That's good. All right. Any others here for public participation? Okay. Seeing none, we will close public participation and begin the budget workshop. I think we've got a presentation by Natalia.
Yes, sir. We'll have the finance director to go over her presentations, and then we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay.
So Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and everybody in the audience, thank you for coming. So today we're here to present a proposed budget for fiscal 2023. So short overview. So this year we're proposing budget of $96,986,669. So that's a high budget, obviously, and our revised budget now, which includes our capital project carry forwards in all the revisions, it's $101 million. So I will stick to just in millions, will not pronounce the whole amounts, it takes time. So in just a reminder, last year, fiscal 22, we adopted budget for $86 million. So basically this fiscal year 2022, we already coming back to you, to the commission with our budget amendments. We increased budget by basically $15 million, just a small note. So general fund, our main fund budget is $38 million. Revised budget to this point is $37 million, and you see the full amount again. So this year, our taxable value increased by 14%, which is $6,093 million up to $5.5 billion. Last year, taxable value was $4.9 billion. It's very significant, and I will show you slides later on how we stand in the County of Volusia. So taxable new construction is $109 million. Annexation brings almost $1 million. And budget 23 includes $2.2 million in capital equipment and vehicles and $17.8 million in capital projects outlay. So historically, our capital projects about $10 million for all funds. And this year is higher, 7.8. It's because we're using ARPA money.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why you see that significant increase. But typically, we do stay within $10 million. So this year was not easy, just like any year. Each year presents its own challenges. So this year, we really try and take care of our employees. And we proposing significant wage increases because, as you all know, we have problems retaining our staff, hiring our staff, and we really started to show lower wages among, again, County of Volusia, which we continually compare ourselves to. So we completed our new union negotiations, which is good news. And this year we actually signed agreements for 3 years, which will take effect October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2025, which for budget purposes will be excellent for us since we know ahead of time what we have to budget and for what. So we also try to address compression adjustment, which was a big issue for our city. It's never easy. We probably did it how everybody would be happy with, but we did our best. And I know we had multiple meetings with you during those negotiations. So now we're only proposing 2.5 new positions. Again, just to be mindful, since wage increase was significant, we did not ask for more positions. Although I have to tell you, departments did ask for more people. Almost each department asked extra, but we tried to just take care of already existing employees. That was for us priority number 1 this year. Now, health insurance, I know that the HR director is still in negotiations with Florida Healthcare, and we do not expect more than 5% increase. So we're trying to continually bring our costs down, which is not easy. Again, everything goes up in cost. So also this year is ARPA money we're using, as I said, $7.5 million, and you know the list city manager provided to you earlier. So we're working off that list that, again, commission approved. And another difference this year for us, solid waste fund, sanitation fund will require rate increase this year. Otherwise, we're looking at operating loss. So this chart shows where we stand among Volusia County cities. And as you see, this is just values, which is basically market value. So we are at 25.72% increase in just values. And again, it's comparable to where we're at. We're somewhere in the middle. This chart shows our taxable values comparing to other cities, and that's where we're at, 14%. Again, we all know what's going on in the market right now. Prices are high, so it's definitely resulted in these high percentages. So this year, again, it's historic for us. The staff proposing 3.9641 general operating tax millage, which is 0.222, easy for me to say, increase from previous year, or 5.93% increase. Again, we're asking for this to cover our increased personnel cost. Our debt, which is voted debt approved by taxpayers, as you see, we have slight decrease there, and it's enough for us to meet our obligations for fiscal 2023. And just small note, general bond 2005 obligation, it will be paid off in July 2024, so we just have 2 more years, and we have about $2.2 million left to pay. For 2018 general obligation bond, we have our payoff date is July 2039, so we have a little bit longer for that. But at least 2005, we have 2 more years. So total city millage would be, with our proposed increase, 4.2947. So this slide shows what would be our property tax at the current millage rate, which is 3.7421, and we're looking at $19,359,043. So proposed millage rate, that 1.222, will provide us $1,198,273. So, and as you see, just incomparable how, what it equates to, our capital equipment and new and replacement, we're asking for $1.3 million from general fund. So as you see, those numbers are just, they seem to be large, but when you compare to our requests, it barely covers even some of our, just like here, new equipment and replacement. So this slide shows our solid waste options. So last year we finished with operating loss of $76,000, which is basically says we don't bring enough revenue to cover our operating expenses. Last year we did pass increase to customers. It was 2017. Meantime, solid waste yearly, basically they do CPI adjustment of 3% and now 4%. So they continually increasing our cost, but we do not reflect it on revenue side. And as a result, we started already see operating loss. And that will only continue get worse. So if we do not have increase for year 23, we're looking at basically $877. No, this year it would be $540,000 loss. Somewhere close there. So we did extensive worksheets, many options. We work, very closely with our staff too. So this is our best numbers we could come up with. So again, if it's no increase, that's what we're looking at, $500,000 this year. In fiscal 23, 877, and you see on and on, almost $2 million year 5. Now, we have several options here. So option 1, we can do 10% this year, and then each other year we'll do 4% CPI increase, which is very normal basically among governments to do CPI adjustment every year, just basically to keep up with the cost. So that option will provide us in fiscal 23 still operating loss, but as you see, by year 5, we finally getting to the positive amount. If we do 10% now in year 2 and year 3, and then 4 in year 4 and 5, you can see next option. So we get to positive number in year 3, which is fiscal 24. And option we're proposing is more aggressive. It's the last one, 20% in year 2, and then each year after 4% CPI increase. And we're proposing do CPI increase almost like ordinance. And basically, we just have to keep up with that. That is our option we think would be the best, but it will be up to you. And again, last year was operating loss already, so this will continue if we don't address the issue. So these slides are showing basically, we typically give you the slides each time we do proposed budget so you are familiar with what departments are asking for. This is equipment requests which are funded. And on the right we put funding source. This is general fund. And I know Commissioner Kolodi last year asked replacement or new. We listened. So as you see, R stands for replacement, and if it's new equipment. This way you have an idea. So basically, most of it usually replacement. So, and basically each department represented here, first 2 items, Ford and trailer, it's our maintenance, 9 police interceptors, same as SUV, generator truck, it's all from fire department. We have that aerial bucket, it's streets, golf. So basically, you know, we need equipment all over the city. We're a big city, a lot of operations. So the total cost for equipment requests for all funds is $2.2 million. And as you see now, we have also ARPA on the list as well. So this is our capital outlay request, also funded. Same here, we have C stands for continuing project. As you know, we have a lot of projects going on now in process. So basically these projects, some are new, some will continue. And again, on the right, you can see funding source. And you will see ARPA again, and if it's airport, it's FDOT, FAA, and combination of different things. So that's the list for that. Again, this continues. I'm sure you're all familiar with these projects. Some, you know, we're going on for quite a bit of time. And as you see, prices are high. We really compete with private sector now. So prices only continue to rise. So total capital outlay, as I said earlier, it's $17.8 million, and total proposed funded capital is $20 million. So summary. So July 26, so you, the commission, will set the tentative general fund millage and debt service millage. So again, we're proposing 3.9641, which is increase 5, almost 6%. Debt service slight decrease. Trim notices to the state and Volusia County are due on August 4th. And our budget workshop, the one when departments come here and talk to you and talk to you about their budget, what they're looking for new year, and that's when you have opportunity to ask all the questions and more details. It's August 18th. And public hearings, first public hearing is September 14th and second on 27th. That concludes my presentation.
Mayor, I just would like to point a few things out to the commission, just to be clear. The first one is obviously the solid waste. As she mentioned, the last time we have a rate increase was in 2017. So If we continue the way we have today, we will be in the red. So that's why we have the several options that was presented. And we will go over this in more detail at the budget workshop through the maintenance operation. And staff will have a recommendation in which option we are recommending. The other issue with the solid waste, and I think I talked to you, to the commission individually, and that is concerning the Waste Pro request to increase the rate beyond this. And I think I mentioned, I just want to put it on the record here that we will deny their request. They're getting the 4% CPI, and I think that would be more than sufficient. During the negotiation, which the contract we have is October 1st of 2021. So we will deny the request based on the negotiation we had, and we felt like we took care of most of the issues that were raised in terms of the labor force and also the fuel. The other thing I want to point out is the contracts that you have. The contract is before you tonight during the regular city commission meeting for police and fire, and you have approved the Leona contracts at the last meeting. Those contracts will have a major impact, as you see on the budget. So I just want to make sure, and I'm saying that on the record, that this is a major impact. So it doesn't only require that increase in the millage for this fiscal year, but it does require increase in the millage for the following year and the following year. So just take that into consideration. The other item is, in the budgets, there is an item under the capital improvements for expansion of the Fire Station 53. That is $500,000 out of general funds. But during my briefings and the briefings before, I have mentioned to you that the fire chief and I have been working on the property next to Fire Station 50. That property is for sale. It has an existing house on it. I feel like they needed the extra room, number one. Number two, if we can get the house, and even if we have to do a remodel on it and pay $150,000, it would be a lot cheaper for us than using the $500,000, and it's not coming out of general fund. We will be using fire impact fees. So I just want to point that out, that $500,000 will come out during the budget presentation during the workshop. These are the three comments, and we'll be more than happy to answer any question that you might have. I know that you just got the book, so you didn't have much time to review, but if there's any question during this coming month, please let us know.
Okay.
Thank you.
So here in a minute, we'll just come down the line. I did want to point out, we've got another meeting, and I know probably a pretty good crowd coming to that meeting. So I'm going to try to wrap this one by 6 o'clock, or really, really close to it. So just ask everyone to be respectful of that time as we go through. For the general public, what you just heard, this isn't the first time we've talked about it, even though it may be the first time you're hearing about it. So this is the result of many, many of these 5 o'clock workshops where we've put an hour or two in talking with staff, going department by department. Every time the budget's talked about in any municipality anywhere up and down the coast, there's always somebody that wants to talk about transparency. Every one of those has been public. This is our budget. It goes line item detail. You can literally find this. I'm happy to send this book home with one of you if you want it, because they'll print me another one, and it's all public record. So if you have time on your hands, you want to go through it, feel free. So just wanted that to be out there. You heard some stuff tonight about, I've said this, I said this last year at my State of the City. We can't continue to increase quality of life or even maintain quality of life at our current levels in the expense environment that we all live in, and do that with the same money that we've got in previous years. I mean, that is not feasible. That is not a feasible thing. The state of Florida, the voters of the state of Florida, passed a $15 hour minimum wage. It was a pretty significant increase from where it was at the time. That causes wage compression issues. Again, we've talked about that in immense detail at previous meetings. So what you're seeing now is we get to be the folks that come to reality on some of this stuff. So again, I invite you all, help, walk through this with us, do a deep dive with us. I think you'll see, we run a pretty lean, tight operation while also trying to maintain quality of life, investing in things that are important to our residents. So my last comment, and then we'll just come down the line, and then that'll be it. On the solid waste, I think in general I would like to see us get away from the approach of kind of holding off until we can't possibly do any more and the balloon's about to burst, and then we do some dramatic increase. That's a shock to the system. That all of a sudden now, is harder on the individual household budget. So I don't know that I could support personally a 20% and then going to a 4%. I would rather see us get a different glide path on that. Again, it's kind of our fault that we're a little bit falling behind. So I would like to see us start that off a little softer, but then do keep it consistent. You expect things to go up 2 or 3, 4% a year. So we're not doing ourselves any favors by artificially suppressing that and then all of a sudden having to lay it in 20% at once. So whatever we do, I hope we land there. But I would like to see us just soften that glide path a little bit. So.
And that's one of the things, Mayor, that we will do in the workshop, because Waste Pro have a CPI built into their contract.
Yeah.
So we'll try to have a CPI in our proposal as well. So that will be, it's an automatic annually. So it'll be taking care of itself rather than, as you mentioned, come in at one time and having a balloon increase that.
Yeah, that's just tougher on everyone, and harder for planning purposes for us and for, again, the household budget. So with that, we'll just come down the line. Commissioner Colodi.
Basically a question or a clarification. We have a proposed millage rate for the general fund. That does not include any of the increase proposed for solid waste, correct?
Correct.
What I would like to see, if you want to refine your 4 proposals or whatever, but I would like a comparison to show what that equals as if it was an increase to the millage rate. I don't know how clear that
To
is.
fund the deficiency, I think. Yeah.
I want to, that way, when we look at the general budget, we're going to go up 0.22 or whatever it is, but we're really going up in our tax bill at a higher amount. And that would kind of show us what that would be.
Well, the only thing is, and I have no issue, but the garbage or the solid waste is paid through the utilities bill. So it's a monthly charge that you're going to charge. It's not on your tax bill. So
I think what he's
Correct, but it's a charge that people have to pay.
yeah,
And
and
I just want to know what that is, so I can weigh that. And I have no problem with an increase for that. I just want to be able to compare that.
So right now, I think it's $21.14 a month. That's what we charge our customers.
That's true.
20% would be $25 somewhere there. So I calculated with 20% annual payment will be only $50.
Yeah.
So when we talk 20%, it sounds very high.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's only $4 a month.
Correct. And I've had many proposals say we could increase the budget by $3 a year or something.
Yeah, and
And
we
and
have...
that kind of minimizes the effect on what people have to pay, because when you add that to the general funding, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I just want to get the real picture as to how much money's going up. Like the mayor's mentioned, we've been skating along probably at minimal increases for 3 years or so. However, our quality of life has not gone down here. Yes, there's going to be increases because we agreed to raise salaries for our unions, which I agreed to also, and I know that has to be taken into account. I want to take a good look at all the charges and compare how, as was said, in the year after that, we're going to have another increase of maybe 7% for salaries, so on and so forth. So we have to be very careful as to what we pay now for other items, such as capital improvement items. We have, I don't know how you want to look at it, but the federal government has dumped money into our pockets, one-time use. So if we can use that, and we have worked on where to spread that money around to keep some of these capital costs down and out of this budget, maybe we don't have to raise the millage rate that much. I've looked at the same book for the last 2 minutes, so I can't really comment on anything that's in it at this particular time. But it's going to go with me, and I will have plenty of comments as to what we're doing. I like to, and I don't want to go on forever here, but I like to see our money spent in places that the public can see, whether it be an improved road, an improved recreational facility, or whatever. That's what I want. I've heard a request earlier for pickleball courts. Everybody wants to play pickleball. I don't. I play golf. I pay a fee for that golf. So perhaps when we look at expansions to our pickleball courts, we have to maybe put a fee in there too, because it doesn't benefit everybody in town, it benefits pickleball players, just like the golf course benefits the golfers. So I don't know how that's going to fit in this budget here. I have no problem providing more facilities, but it's a question, I don't want to see that cost in the general fund budget. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Khalid and Natalia, it seems like only last month that we were talking about budgets, and you came forward with a budget that was doable, but still we asked for cuts. And I think you came to a reasonable cut for us to be able to get behind. Any tax increase, still to me, in this climate that we're in, which is very strenuous on the public taxpayer, I don't want to, in simple terms, I don't want to pile on. Everybody's costs are going up, including the cities. Finally, we're looking at salaries for our workers, but at the same time, I think we can find a number. What did we come to last year? Was it 3.74?
3.7421. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the same millage we have for the past 3 years.
Yes. Well, okay, so we have 4.2 and 3.7. If we could come back a little bit, still provide enough money for our budget, for our workers, for all the equipment that we need, and we don't pile on what already burdened households. Maybe we can compromise and try to help our fellow citizens as well, because yes, it's always nice to have rainy day funds, but we may have to be spending them. We do have an increase in property taxes, 14%. We have ARPA funds coming into the city, so that gives us a little bit of a boost, I think. Maybe you guys can sharpen your pencils and pens, and we can come back to something that the public would accept more, easier.
And I already have, just a few minutes ago, I took the $500,000 because we found another solution for it. So, but to go back to my original comments, when we were looking at the contracts, and you were in support of raising the minimum wage to $15, and I have said at the time that this comes with a caveat with it, because what happened when you raise the $15, then you create the compression. So that's what happened. I mean, through all these years, we had the compression in the city. And then the other thing is the competition that we're having around the cities and the private sector. I mean, we've been looking for a planning manager for the past 2.5 years. And so, you know, the benefits that we provide, the salary that we provide, and then also the house markets. It's not an easy for somebody to move in to get paid at $16 an hour to find a place in New Smyrna. So, but we will do everything possible to accommodate a budget that it's actually presentable in order to meet whatever we have to do with the contracts and also, with the capital improvement and capital equipment.
I think you guys did a great job last year, and maybe we can do the same for the public this year. I'm hoping.
Okay.
Thanks.
I just want to be clear so there's no confusion. Staff, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not really funding rainy day funds. We're funding exactly what's kind of outlined, the various expenses that have been outlined here. We basically run a zero net budget, meaning we have a certain amount of revenues, expenses that come out to exactly net. I think the difficult thing, and we've all done it, so not disparaging anyone, but the easiest thing in the world to do is to sit back and say hey, staff, go find something. The reality is, if we want to cut something, we've got to pick an item off the list that we don't want to fund. Look these folks in the eye and say, we're not going to fund your pickleball court. We just save $500,000. That's what it's going to come down to, is what of these items is not a priority. We've said staffing has to be a priority. We've got to fund those contracts. So that'll be the debate moving forward. Vice Mayor.
Yes. Yes to everything.
All right.
I'm going to give people what they want, and we're going to cut taxes.
Yeah, right.
Listen.
I echo that.
And then we come down to reality. The Florida voters increased minimum wage 50% in 5 years. So although people may not be too familiar with the actual minimum wage and what compression means, the reality of it is increase your salary by 50% in 5 years. If you're a business owner, see what that would do to your bottom line. It's almost unreachable. It is very challenging. So we have a lot of challenges up here on the dais, and a lot of what we're doing is going to be responding to the constituents. The constituents are continuously asking us for increased quality of life and increased level of service. We have been and have maintained the lowest millage rate in Volusia County compared apples to apples with, I think, is DeBerry, right? Who actually shows the lowest, but if you compare apples to apples, is the lowest. We are the lowest. So we have to adjust to this. We will certainly sharpen our pencils as much as we can, but all we do is kick the can down the road. Let's remind ourselves, when times were good, we still did not fund many of the things, and we said, we'll spread it out, maybe we'll do it next year. Now times are gonna probably be heading, the cold winds are gonna blow a little bit. Hopefully just a little bit, not a lot, but those cold winds are coming. So what does that mean? Things that we wanted to kick down the road may be very challenging for us to fund, and then the things that come up new. So we have a lot of challenges with the budget. The money that was given to us, I want to make sure everyone knows that the HARPA money given us by the federal government is limited in where we can spend it, and it is a one-time shot. So it's not like you want to fund salaries with it or continuing reoccurring expenses with that kind of money, because it doesn't show the actual reflection of how the city has to run with its income and expenses. So we've done this many times. We're a good commission. You can trust that we're going to work hard at doing the best we can and easing the pain as much as possible. And I also agree with what the mayor said on the solid waste. Ease into it a little bit, but let's be clear. If the cold winds blow and the revenue slows down, it's even tougher for us to fund this expense year 3, 4, and so on. Thank you, Mayor.
So I had a couple of questions. On the capital outlay requests that are funded, the little C means that it's a continuation? Okay. I don't see the Fifth Street Bridge on here. Is it unfunded? I see Barracuda, but I don't
If
see...
you recall with Fifth Bridge, basically we have a lot of money budgeted in 2022. So basically it will be in 2022.
Okay.
So I want to say we probably had about $3 million there, and we did not spend yet.
But,
So that money will be rolled forward. This is really, truly new money.
okay. So I agree with most of my colleagues on everything. The only other thing is that I want to point out where we talked about the $15 an hour rate that was mandated to us by the state. We also had the voters pass the Turnbull Creek bond issue, which they agreed to fund, but we never raised millage rate to pay for that. We absorbed those costs in those budget years. So that's something else, that we haven't taken into consideration here. When we talk about we've stayed level for the last 2 or 3 years at the same millage rate, we've also took on that debt at that same millage rate. We didn't increase our millage to pay for that with the voters vote passed at a 72%. So, that's another thing that we've kind of absorbed over the years. So that, along with everything else that's going on, I commend staff on all the hard work that they've done on this, especially Heather on getting 3 contracts done this early. So I do appreciate everything that staff has done, and I look forward to going through the book.
Okay. Any follow-up or anything to clarify on that?
I think it's, I just want a reminder, it's the full workshop would be on August 18th. However, July 26th will be the tentative special meeting to set the millage. So we will have 2 meetings on the budgets coming up, one in July 26th and then August 18th for the full day workshop.
Okay. All right. With that, I think that is all that we have before us in this workshop. So we will adjourn the workshop. The next meeting begins at 6:30. See you all then.